Okay, we are live. Welcome, welcome. Whew, that is strong. So, today's topic is what am I seeing for the next year or so, next 3 or 4 even, potentially longer, but what I'm seeing in terms of the timeline for ammo, guns, anything shooting related in terms of supply and demand over the next couple of years, because I think people are missing something critical in the general dialogue on this. And, we already lost our one person. Anyway, we have an election in a year and a half, meaning the election isn't, but they're going to start campaigning. They're going to start talking. They're going to start establishing positions. And on the Democrat side, they don't ever not double down. Like they don't moderate because for the nomination, they've got to talk to their base. They've got to rile up their base. They've got to attract attention as hardcore whatever. And I think that is going to involve some more gun control stuff, some, you know, extending the import ban on Russian ammo, banning AK-47s just because they're AK-47s and they're Russian, even if they're made in the U.S. Brandon Herrera built it in his garage 5 years ago. Ban it because it's Russian. Like whatever their cockamamie scheme is, it's going to spark another run. We're already behind the bell curve. Like we're already, if you're looking at the ideal supply demand curve, we're way behind. There are calibers that are in demand, massively in demand. There's no supply because manufacturers can barely keep up with the primary calibers that, 308, 223, 22 long rifle, 30-06, 270, these, we have to be trying to keep up on these. But then you've got things like 6.5 Grendel, 6.5 Creedmoor, 6mm ARC, 6mm Creedmoor, 30-30 even, 38, 357s. Hell, 30 Super Carry, 38 Super, like all these calibers. Even 40 Smith & Wesson can be hard to get sometimes. They're prioritizing production. That doesn't mean they're keeping up. That means they're keeping up with the biggest niche, the biggest slice of the pie that they can handle. Do we think that's going to stop? Like, do we think the demand is going to ease off and they're going to catch up in the next year and a half? I'm not seeing it. What's going to change? Nothing. The situation has not improved. They're talking about food shortages. They're talking about food passports. Our president got up and said the food shortage is going to be real. Well, I don't know about you, but if I have a pantry full of food and I know that my neighbors, not necessarily my exact neighbor, but like people in the neighborhood don't, they're going to be desperate. That's just reality. If somebody is starving, they will do whatever it takes to feed themselves. If somebody's kids are starving, can you even blame them? They're going to do what they have to do to feed those kids. And honestly, I don't blame them. I just don't want it to be my food without my choice. I want it to be that, hey, somebody asked and I donated some food. Somebody asked and I said, hey, bring your family over. We'll have dinner. Like I can cook for 5 and it only uses twice as much food as cooking for 1. Because of waste and packaging and all that. We're like, okay, the protein uses up more, but I don't think it's going to be any different on ammo. I think that people are going to look at this and go, there's going to be problems. The problems are going to continue. They're not going to get better. I don't want to be behind the curve. And people are going to keep buying ammo in large amounts. People are going to keep buying guns. People who previously didn't feel a need for a gun are going to continue to buy guns. I've only been working at the Bass Pro for a little while now. This is Texas. Okay. Most people have guns every day. I'm not even at the gun counter. I'm nearby. Every day I hear people who are like, I don't own guns, but I'm worried enough that I want to own a gun. I want to get a gun now. I want to learn how to use it. What do I need? What should I start with? These are people who are honestly either new to Texas or were so liberal even a year ago that they were the oddball Texan that didn't own a gun. Or they're young. A lot of times they're young. They're just old enough to be buying their own. And for whatever reason, their parents didn't give them something, they're buying their own. Okay. But that's a steady flow. How many am I not hearing about? How many are shopping elsewhere, just in my little area? Now, translate that nationwide. I don't see this stopping. It's only going to get worse as the economy gets worse, as people realize that Build Back Better was fuck you harder. It's just going to get worse, which means the ammo supply is not going to improve. The gun supply seems to be mostly keeping up, to be fair. That they adjusted what they're producing and they're doing a good job. But it's not like prices are coming down a whole lot. They're not keeping up that well. So you hit the election cycle. You hit when people start trying to jockey for position for a nomination. Well, I mean, how many major politicians does it take talking more about gun control to start round three in 3 years on crazy gun prices and crazy ammo prices? Two, three. If Hillary Clinton opens her mouth, does all the ammo fly off the shelf? If you're Texas, if Beto starts talking, actually looks like he might have a chance at a campaign. I don't think he has a chance of actually getting a nomination, but like he's actually really aggressive about running. Yeah, people react. It's not rational. I have plenty of ammo. Like if I rationally think about it, I don't need more ammo. I go and think like I'm like, should I buy about another 200 box of 223? Should I start buying a 100 round box a week of 9mm? How about 45? If I see 38 or 357, I'm probably buying it. Do I need it? I haven't shot that gun in a year. I have just as much ammo as I had a year ago for it. I have almost as much as I had 2 years ago, which is not much less than I had 3 years ago. I got plenty. But I would like to have more. I would like to have another 357 revolver. Don't want to spend the money. 6.5 Grendel, one of the most popular calibers on my channel. It was a news event. It was a major thing for me to see ammo in stock on the shelf in this area. And 6.5 Grendel, it was a hunting round at like $37 a box. I almost bought it. I don't even own a 6.5 right now, but I'm thinking about it. I want a 6.5 again. I want to go back to that. I want to have one in the closet, in the safe. But that was the only ammo I saw. I don't need hunting ammo. SSTs are not great for self-defense. They're a pretty solid round. By the way, the drink for the day, Michter's small batch. And I haven't had it in a while. I forgot how it has a good burn to it. Yeah, just like the tiniest splash of water just to open it up a little bit. Delicious. But yeah, I think that we have about a year and a half of what's going on now. I don't think it's going to change significantly unless there's some major event. I think that the situation in Ukraine is already kind of settled into the market, right? Because we were already looking at the end of the Russian ammo that was already in process. Like all this is priced in. But I think when the Russian ammo runs out, we're going to see a price increase on brass rounds. Whatever the bottom price is right now on brass, if there isn't anything below that, It's sure as hell not going down, and it may go up. I think it's going to go up. I think if you're looking at like, you know, 50 cents or 75 cents around for brass 223, I think you're looking at a dollar. I think right now, what are we looking at? Like 45 cents for bolt 223 in brass. On average, I mean, we're not talking a particular, oh my God, that's on sale kind of, but like just as a reasonable, I can buy what I want, where I want, when I want. I think you're going to be looking at 75 cents or 65 cents by the end of this year. And I don't think it's going to go down. And I think 6 months later, they're going to start election talk. They're going to start campaigning. They're going to start talking. They might not call it that, but they're doing press releases, press conferences. They're pushing a new bill. They're trying to get their name out there for the recognition in order to get a nomination. And that is going to send things to the roof. And it doesn't matter how many positive people run. It doesn't matter how many pro-gun people run. It's the negative that drives the market. So, and justifiably, I can't even argue with it because the pro folks do very little. Oh, we're pro-gun, we're pro-Second Amendment. What have you done? What law have you gotten repealed? What infringement have you fought against and actually taken it to court? What bill did you introduce that had a chance in hell? Did you actually push to get through to fix some of this stuff? Nothing. They do nothing. They fight the further infringement, but they don't ever push back. Very, very rare. So we look at it as the negatives are what we're looking at. And there's going to be a lot of negatives. Whether they have a chance in hell or not, probably not, to be fair. I think gun control is a dead topic in terms of actually passing anything other than Biden doing executive orders, which will get nullified in court, but you're fucked for a couple of years until it gets through the Supreme Court. But I don't even think he'll do that because I think the man, his handlers at least, are delusional enough to think that they can run again or that Harris at least can run again. And anything he does that way that alienates most of the market, most of the population is going to be a nail in his coffin. So, because at this point, gun control, you're not even just pissing off the right. A lot of the left has gone pro-gun because they've watched the freaking train wreck and gone, whether I agree with those guys over there on the right or not, I want to be armed. Has nothing to do with whether I agree with their platform about it. I personally want to be armed. And while the politicians can be extremely myopic about it and go, rules for them, not for me, the average person on the left is rational. I mean, we may want to say they're not, but they're rational. They just never felt the need for a gun. And now that they do, they don't want a law passed that will take it away from them. They're going to look at those laws differently now that they understand the purpose of that firearm. And yeah, it is a mess. And I don't think it's getting better. I think that in a couple of years, say 3 years, two even, 2.5, I think post-election, when it really sinks in, unless a Republican wins and they're a pro-gun Republican, not a rhino. If, say, Warren runs and gets nominated, even just nominated, can you imagine what that's going to do to prices? AOC gets the nomination as vice president. I don't even care who's up for president. AOC is vice president. Can you imagine what that will do to gun sales and gun prices? Forget Obama. Obama didn't care about guns one way or the other. It was a political item that got mentioned, but he was personally not particularly involved. He didn't care. AOC, she has made that a regular thing. Well, I noticed she's quieted down about it. It's less of a thing for her these days. I have no idea if she's changed her position or she's simply not talking about it, right? A lot of these politicians stop talking about things that are unpopular for them but they're still pushing bills. They're still voting on things that way. It is what it is, right? So I think we need to not put ourselves in the position of looking backwards and going, I wish I had bought X in 2022. I think that's key. Don't go out and panic buy, but make an honest evaluation of where you are and what you would like to have for the next 3 years, maybe 4. Make sure you get it in the next year. Doesn't mean today, doesn't mean this week, but have that in the back of your head of, hey, I got a bonus at work. Hey, I got some Christmas money. Hey, my spouse is saying, what do you want for your birthday? I want that gun. I want that shotgun. I want that case of ammo I've been talking about. I want that training course. I want that armor. I want, whatever it is. I want to put slings on all my ARs. Whatever those items are, start working on them. If you don't have armor, might be the time. Even if you just do some soft plates from Bowtac. Come on, guys. Like $250 gets you a carrier and 2 soft panels that are 3A plus, and will stop pretty much anything in pistol caliber. Not the stupid, crazy, fast stuff, but like anything normal that you're going to get shot with in a home invasion, a mugging. Like if the shit goes completely sideways and there are riots everywhere at grocery stores, and you still have to go to the grocery store, putting some soft armor under your sweatshirt when you go, nice little insurance, right? If there's a riot every few days at a grocery store in your area, not necessarily every grocery, but just a grocery store. If people are robbing people for their groceries in the parking lot, it only has to happen once or twice to be a reasonable expectation of let me be a little prepared for that, right? It's like, how often do you get a flat tire before you have a jack in the car with spare? So yeah, I think that we need to plan for this. You looking at when they start electioneering, when they start running for that nomination, when they start jockeying for position, if you don't have what you need, if you are not prepared for the next couple of years after that, it's probably too late to get prices as good as we're looking at now. I don't think it's all going to evaporate. I just think that the demand is going to drive prices up and make certain things more scarce. You may lose the selection. It may go back to what it was like a year ago where, okay, you want 9mm defensive ammo. Well, okay, you can get it even locally, but there might only be a couple choices. Well, right now there's good choices. It's available. Maybe not everything all the time, but like there's options. You want gold tips, go for it. If you want, what? No, not gold tips. Yeah, gold tips. Am I losing my marbles? I'm thinking archery. Oh my God. Whatever. If you want HST, you can get it. If you want PDX, you can get it. If you want XTPs, you can get it. If you want the buffalo bore stuff, you can get it. Rifle ammo, there's, okay, not everything, but there's a selection in the major calibers. I think that's going to start evaporating in a year and a half. But for now, you can do it. Do a little at a time. If you've got a list of 5 calibers you want to double your current supply in, start now. Pick the hardest to get, start there. Pick the one you care about the most, start there. Prioritize, make a list and work through it. Don't do this half-ass. I used to use, a horrible plan, but I used to use Google Doc, and I had a list of my reloading supplies, what I needed to balance out. And I would shop that list by priority. I had it prioritized. If I had factory ammo that I wanted, it was on that list in priority order. And I would literally print that sheet. When I went to the store or when I was online, browsing, I knew, hey, these are the things in order. If you can get one of these top 5, do it. If you can get all of them, start at the top of the list, work your way down, however much money you're willing to spend. And I think we need to start that. Now, do I think soft goods are going to go as quick? No. I think slings will stick around longer. I think plate carriers will stick around longer. I think armor there'll be a run on armor again, but there's such a big variety on plate carriers. The cheap stuff will go quick. You're going to have a lot of people who are just Joe Blow shopping, and they're not into this stuff. They don't care. They just want something to wear, and they're going to buy cheap. They're going to buy, available and cheap. There'll be guys who buy good stuff, but there's going to be a lot of people who buy cheap. Condor is going to sell a ton of stuff, and you've got to go, well, if that's what I'm shopping for, if I just want a basic Condor carrier, buy it now. If you want a Faro Concepts or London Bridge or one of those guys, okay, you can, that's not going to go away. That stuff is high end, priced accordingly, right? If you're buying even HSGI or Haley Strategic, no problem. Yeah, I mean, supply, it'll come in and out of stock, but I don't think there's going to be a permanent run on it like there will be on the cheaper stuff. Because I think that the number of people that are interested in the higher end gear, they're already interested. They're already there. They're already those customers. Whereas the cheap stuff, that non-gun person who feels the need for something is not going to be interested in spending $300 or $400 on a plate carrier. They're going to buy $100 plates. And if they can get a $50 plate carrier, they're going to do it because they don't expect to ever wear. They're scared, they're nervous, they're worried, and their buddy who's into this stuff said, well, you can get this, here's a basic price point, here's some things to look for, go. But he knew they didn't really care, so he didn't get into too much detail. They're going to buy Condor. They're going to buy, Botac house brand. They're going to buy other generic ones off Amazon. It's junk for the most part, but for their purposes, it'll work fine. But if you're looking for an extra one, you don't want to be waiting until they're shopping too, because there's a lot of them. There's a lot of those people. Now, outside of this topic, what else? I am seeing better supply on a lot of stuff. Not seasonal stuff, but more shelves are full. Goods are coming in better. I think that they're not necessarily making progress on getting ahead of it, but the what do you call it? The gaps are getting filled by what is coming in. So, for example, if you had a shelf full of merchandise and you had a 3-month gap in your order deliveries, your product was not making it into this country, most of that shelf was empty, right? And you got some of it in, that was already in process, and you've now spent a couple years never quite getting that shelf full again. I think that enough product has made it in that while you don't necessarily have the inventory you wanted, maybe you're filling in some gaps with other things or whatever, but you've now got a full shelf. You've got a better selection than you've had for a while. And this applies to everything. This is whether you're talking a Walmart shelf for electronics, clothing, fishing stuff, hunting stuff, ammo, whatever. It's starting to fill in better. I don't know how long it's going to last. I think we'll probably be okay there. But I do think selection is going to be a bitch. I think we're going to see more off-brands or random stuff. Hey, we have 3 people. If anybody has questions, comments, ideas, I know we lost one of them, put them in the comment. Wow, we lost 2. Put them in the chat. Because I've already kind of talked about the ammo situation and the gun situation. So if you've got something else you want to talk about, throw it in there. Questions on it, anything like that. Because otherwise we're at about half an hour and I was going to switch up. I guess not. Okay. Next topic is unrelated entirely. I was watching some YouTube, as you do. Thank you. um, and I was watching a bass uh, fisherman, Scott Martin, if you're into bass. And I was watching his Bassmaster Classic video. And he has his channel, but it's the Scott Martin experience or something. Like it's not just him, it's him and his couple buddies did usually get Airbnb together for tournaments and stuff. But he's the main guy. It's his channel. He's the one paying the camera guy and the editor and all that. But he throws them in there. And it occurred to me that of the professional bass anglers, the pro tour guys, whether it's Bassmaster Elite, whether it's MLF, FLW, like whatever it is, only a small percentage have a real YouTube channel, like that it's a focus for them. And I was thinking about this and I was like, these guys are killing themselves. They're literally destroying their brand by not having it. Because it's like refusing to give an interview 15 years ago. If you're a professional bass angler, because you live and die by your sponsors. Tournament money is great and all, but you live or die by your sponsorships. And your sponsors, well, they're sponsoring you because you promote their product, right? You represent their brand. Well, if you're not, writing articles, if you're not getting featured in articles, if you're not doing interviews and talking about what you use, if you're not, filming a commercial for them, well, I mean, what good are you? Why would they sponsor you, right? Because if nobody knows you're using their stuff, who cares? Not everybody watches the tournaments. Not everybody goes to the tournaments. So if you don't have a YouTube channel, like I have almost never watched a tournament on the tournament's YouTube channel. I watch a particular angler. And you could apply this, hunting channels, car channels, like anything. If you are somebody who makes their living by sponsorships and you don't have strong social media presence, what are you offering them? Magazines are toast. TV, toast. A tiny slice of the market, right? More people watch Scott Martin or Jason Wheeler or Dustin Connell on YouTube, on their channels, than watch them anywhere else. And even Dustin Connell, top of his game, right? I watch him on Scott Wheeler's channel. No, Jason Wheeler. Or what the hell's his name? Oh my God. I'm like, sorry guys, I'm like losing my mind about what his freaking name is. Jacob Wheeler. Oh my God, Jacob Wheeler. I don't know. Like I watch the guy's channel all the time. I just could not think of his first name. Like he's the primary channel for his group. And Mark Daniels has a channel, and DC's got a channel, and like the other guy has a channel, but I can't even think of his name. What are they offering their sponsors? And okay, I understand they're not as outgoing, they're not as social media interested, but that's the game. That's the market. If you are not creating content that gets you views, why would they sponsor you? And Jacob Wheeler has a great channel, world-class channel. It's a great YouTube channel, very professionally done, a lot of fun to watch. Even when his fishing's going horribly, it's a fun channel to watch. I pay attention. I'm influenced by what I see on his channel. Now, Ryan Latimer, same thing. Different vibe on the channel, but he's got a channel and he's active on it. He's active on social media. He's putting out content that is valuable to me. I go and watch because I'm learning things or I'm being entertained. On the same channel, I'm learning and I'm being entertained. Great. And now, between Latimer and Daniels, they've sold me on more Z-Man shit that I don't actually use that I want to think about. I probably have, I mean, I don't have that much. So I probably have $50 worth of Z-Man stuff that I should never have bought. I never would have bought it without their influence. How much do I fish it? Almost never. Because I don't fish all Z-Man stuff, and I fish primarily other brand stuff that isn't Laztech. So I can't just take that bait off and toss it in my box because it will mess with other baits. So I have to take that plastic off, clean off the hook, put that plastic back in the Z-Man bag, so on and so forth, because that plastic dissolves other plastics. It's a horrible situation if you mix. Well, that's great and all. I love their baits, but I tend to find an equivalent product that doesn't have those problems. Is the product as good? Usually not, to be honest. The Elastec holds up really well. It's just annoying to deal with. So, yeah, I mean, my fishing stuff, I've got a bag of Z-Man selection in one bag. And I like the stuff. But when I have to choose which craw am I putting on, it's probably a Rage craw or a Guggen craw, Kraken craw. So Strike King and Guggen gets the nod 90% of the time. And then 10% of the time I put the Z-Man one on. I actually like the Z-Man one better, but it's annoying. But I bought it because of those guys. They got me interested. I regularly buy product because of those guys, their channels. There's hundreds of these guys. Most of them don't have channels, or they have an almost empty channel, or it's extremely boring. It's not well done. If I was their sponsor, I'd be like, hey, dude, you need to work on this. We're paying you. This is what we're going to pay you for. Make this happen. We'll help you. We will promote get your channel going. Get 50 videos up there that are good quality. We'll help you with the production. We'll subsidize your camera guy until you get it rolling and your channel pays enough to pay for the camera guy. But if you don't get that going, we're not going to pay you as much. We're not going to provide as much because you're not providing us the exposure we want. That's what they're there for. I mean, the professional bass anglers are not there to win a tournament. They're there to sell me gear. They're there to sell me a boat. They're there to sell me a truck, a trailer, a trolling motor, an engine, a tackle box, a fishing rod. Like, it has nothing to do with their ability to catch fish in a tournament. No one cares. Think about it. If there's 15 tournaments for that group a year, say 10 guys win tournaments, 12 guys win tournaments. Nobody cares who came in second. Nobody ever cares who came in third. And to be honest, if you didn't win the whole thing or you weren't Angler of the Year, no one cares. Oh yeah, you won one tournament. For that guy, that's a big deal. For the guys in the industry, that's a big deal. For the audience, the excitement's over in 5 minutes, you moved on, right? If your YouTube channel doesn't engage me, if your Instagram doesn't engage me, I'm not motivated by you to purchase anything from your sponsors. You did not influence me, and your job is to be an influencer. Professional anglers are some of the oldest influencers. Think about that. Professional golfers, professional anglers, what else? What other sport is so reliant on sponsors? I'm NASCAR, to some extent, Formula One and Indy. But those guys, it wasn't about them. It was about the car. It was about the team, right? Um, because um, you weren't going to buy Ferrari because you like that driver. You were motivated by Ferrari because you saw the Ferrari winning, and it got you excited about Ferrari, or the Porsche or the McLaren or whatever. But bass fishing and golf, their job is to sell you the equipment. A professional golfer's job is to convince you that you need that new driver or that new putter or that new sand wedge or whatever. You need that new bag. You need that glove. You need that new ball. That it's going to make your game better. The bass fisherman's job is to convince you that you need different baits. You need different rods, reels, line. It's to sell me merchandise. Well, where are the eyeballs? Because they're not on network television anymore. They're not on even cable anymore. Most of the guys that are going to be influenced at this point are my age and younger. You're not the guy who's 65, 70, 80 that's still watching network TV. He's got his stuff. He's going to buy the same stuff. He's not trying a bunch of new stuff. He's fishing the same spots from the same boat with the same rod, reel. He's buying the same line. Like, it's done. 20-year-old kid getting into fishing, teenager getting into fishing, who's watching YouTube and goes, well, my favorite, bass fisherman on that tour uses this, and this. And he caught those awesome bass in my area. Okay. In my area. There's a tournament in my area. And he used blah, 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 blah. And they go buy it. They didn't have it much. They were starting out and they went and bought your product because of an influencer. That's what it means. It's not some chick, influencing how you do your makeup. She's not an influencer. Not in that sense. She's influencing style maybe, but she's not really selling the product unless she's being sponsored and marketing a particular brand. If I'm Maybelline and somebody's just doing an eyeshadow tutorial and they don't say the word Maybelline, I'm not sponsoring them, right? If somebody's bass fishing and they don't mention that, hey, I used a Bandito bug, I used a Strike King Rage bug, I used a Reaction Innovation Sweet Beaver, why am I giving them money? Why am I giving them baits? I'm not. If you're one of the ammo sponsors for like a Jerry Mikulik, if his shirt doesn't have your ammo name on it, if he doesn't mention you in an interview, if he doesn't have your box of ammo, on the shelf behind him while he's doing a YouTube video, because he's got that crazy, shelf of reloading supplies behind him. You think that's an accident? No, that's intentional. He's marketing those products to you. Now, I'm sure that he's using them, and I'm sure that that's not like he didn't plan the shelf out, but he's using that to market to you for his sponsors. And this is how YouTube works, like particularly for things like firearms, because if I monetize my channel right now, I have 1,400 subs, right? Just broke 1,400 the other day. Say I had 14,000, 40,000. I would make almost no money, like pennies a month, because most of my videos would get demonetized because they show or use firearms. Do you think like Brandon Herrera and Demolition Ranch and Kentucky Ballistics and all those guys make money off of the video on YouTube? Or do you think they make money from their ads that they put in? Yeah, it's their ad. It's the ad they put in that somebody paid them for, because 400,000 eyeballs were going to watch that video. 1 million eyeballs were going to watch that Demolition Ranch video. Raid Shadow Legends is willing to pay for 1 million freaking eyeballs, right? Manscaped is willing to pay for those eyeballs SimpliSafe is willing to pay for those eyeballs. Whatever NordVPN is willing to pay for those eyeballs. YouTube demonetized the video. So the person running the video has to make money some other way. The video wasn't free. If they shot 200 rounds of ammunition to make the video, if they had to buy a gun to make the video, time, a videographer, if they need a camera guy, the cameras, the tripods, the lighting, the video, the editing time, the computer to do the editing on, the freaking keeping the lights on. It's not free. Sponsors, which makes you an influencer. And if you're not doing that and you make your living by sponsorships, you are failing your sponsors, and they are going to start reacting. So yeah, it was very interesting to me to see that the other people that are on the Scott Martin channel, they don't seem to be going to any effort to get their own channels going. And I really don't understand. If I was one of them, I would be going, hey, we need another video guy. We need, even if he just rotates around the other people in our group, because Scott's always got his. We need one that rotates around the rest of us on the water. This day he's with him. This day he's with them. And, I've got a couple GoPros on my boat. I've got my chest rig. And we're just accumulating video. And then you're outsourcing maybe the editing, because one guy can't do the editing for 4 channels, right? But okay, you can get an editor if you're sponsored by the Googans. Okay, like just a good example. You are sponsored by Googan Squad. I guarantee you they can go, hey, here's a list of people that can edit for you that we think are competent. Here's their style sheet, and this is how they operate. And if you have a problem, give us a call. It's going to be free? No. But if Googans are one of your main sponsors, like J-Dub or Scott Wheeler, like the Googans are main sponsors for them. Well, yeah. If you say, hey, right now my channel is not making any money. I'm at 20,000 subscribers. I can't afford to pay a editor, full-time editor for this, but I only need him for 4 months a year. The Googan Squad to start out with might say, we'll pitch in 10% of the cost, and Seagour might pitch in 5%, and Shimano, well, probably not, but somebody else might pitch in, and by the time you're done, you're paying half. Okay, half can come out of your revenue from your channel. You can do that. But you're also adding value for your sponsors, where if they're paying you by how many people use your code to buy something, how many, when you mention a product, how the sales tick up, like they've got metrics. If your metrics improve, you make more money. If Jacob Wheeler's signature ducket rods sell more, he makes more money. It's that simple. It might be as simple as just selling more hats and t-shirts, and that starts covering the cost. Now, fishing videos, you can probably keep them monetized. That's not the end of the world. They're not a flare. They're not doing catch, clean, cooks, right? So they probably can stay monetized. A lot of the guys don't. They don't monetize the channel because they want to do all the ad revenue directly. They want to be promoting their sponsors and so on. But not always. But that's the service you've got to offer. Otherwise, I think in a couple of years, the sponsors are going to go, I don't need you. You're not giving me what I need, and you haven't adapted. I think we'll see the same thing in the shooting world. I think we will see these social media friendly shooters these guys who are doing a lot of videos, even if they're competitive shooters, not entertainment shooters. Um, Eric Cortina does videos on long range shooting, precision shooting. Not a lot of them, but he's good at it. The videos. I mean, I know he's definitely a good shooter. I'm talking the videos. He puts out a good product. Well, if I'm a sponsor for him, if I'm, Norma or Lapua or whoever, he gets cases from, I'm more likely to go, hey, here's your cases for the year. Give us a call if you need something else. Thanks for the spot you did about our product in your recent video that got 1 million views. I have no idea if he did a recent spot on Lupo. I just example versus some long range precision shooter that wins half the tournaments but has zero social media recognition because you're not trying to influence the other professional shooters. You're trying to influence the 50 million reloaders that want supplies and are like, well, is Lapua worth it? I don't know. It's 3 times more money than the Hornadies or the Winchesters. Well, if the guy you're watching on YouTube and you have a lot of respect for is telling you, I use Lapua because blah, 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 because Lapua is a better product than most of those, right? It's a premium product and it is well-deserved reputation. But if somebody doesn't tell you why, you're going to go, I mean, it's twice as much as the Norma, which is twice as much as the Starline. It's all in spec. Why would I pay 4 times more money? I mean, I don't buy Lapua brass. I buy Starline. I buy Hornady. I might buy Norma. But for most of my brass, I mean, I kind of top out at Hornady match. But if I was doing long range precision shooting, excuse me, oh, it's been a long day. If I was doing that kind of shooting, if I was somebody like Eric Cortina, I was trying to emulate him. I'm a new shooter coming up in that scene. Yeah, having him as part of a video on maximizing the performance of a particular round. Say he's doing a video on a 6 PRC or I don't know, 6.8 Western or something like. I don't know what he's shooting these days, but if part of that video is talking about the brass, that's good. Talking about the bullet choices, sell me an option, right? No harm in that. Did my video do weird things? No, it's all good. The last one, it freaked out. And to some extent, like that's my end game for this channel. If I can grow this channel big enough to attract any interest and be worthwhile, I'm not going to be doing Raid Shadow Legends. I might, if they throw money at me, I might do it. Manscaped, I got no shame. But I would prefer for it to be, hey, here's a product I like, I support, I'm a fan of. I will feature your product if you provide the product and pay me a reasonable sum. It's Primary Arms. I'm a huge fan of Primary Arms, right? I can't afford to buy the new scopes they put out all the time. I don't have a huge need for them. I'm already pretty decently set up, right? But I also can't afford it. It'd be too much money every year to keep up, and I don't have enough audience to justify it. But I know you guys would be all over a video on one of the new scopes, right? They do real well. But I don't have the money to spend $300 on a scope just for the video that's not going to make me any money. But if I had enough subscribers watching enough views on the video, right? Enough views that Primary Arms goes, well, this is worth our time. This is worth our money. Here's the scope, even if it's just pass along. It's a press samples, pass it along to the next guy. And here's a couple $100 to do the video. Or, however many views it gets, we'll pay per view kind of thing. Like that's the kind of revenue I would prefer to get out of YouTube rather than YouTube's algorithm of pay per click or pay per time or whatever, however they do it. Because they're going to demonetize half my videos. Right now, it's probably most of it. But you notice I haven't been showing the guns in the videos. I'm limiting that because YouTube freaking hates it. They demonetize stuff. You can get strikes randomly because they just got to burr up their butt about it. The policy changes. I mean, it is very tricky sometimes to walk a line for YouTube. And I know, I mean, the Googans have talked about it. They did their own system, right? The uncut, where you pay for access. I think that's going to become more common. I think, and I have no knowledge one way or the other, but I think that if Matt Carricker and the Bunker Branding crew are not working on a platform for that kind of content and to host that kind of content for other providers, other users, only high end. Like there's no point in them being a mass market, but like Brandon Herrera, Eli Double Tap, Matt Best, they post gun content and it gets demonetized and they get bitched at by YouTube, right? If there was another platform to host that, and because they're not worried about the ad revenue from YouTube, that's very rarely. They'll keep posting their other content on YouTube and get the ad revenue from that. But the firearm stuff, they need another outlet. There's trustworthy, reliable, and not going to penalize them for it being gun content. Because they'll make the ad revenue. You have to be big enough that you can tell your audience, hey, all of our gun content is over here. Here's the address. Go there. All our other stuff is staying here. And to not have it be, 500 people go there. If I did that, 5 people would go there. My Rumble channel that I tried to send people to, nobody watches. But if you're a Matt Best, if you're an Eli Double Tap, if you are, Kentucky Ballistics, if you're Eli or not, if you're Brandon Herrera, if you're Demolition Ranch, yeah, if you tell your audience we're here 20 times, a huge chunk of your audience will be watching on that new outlet. Maybe not in general, but they'll go there to watch the video. They'll go there to watch you. They'll have a bookmark. If you have a reliable mailing list where it's going to email them every time you post a video and they can just click the link and it goes, great. YouTube's notification system seems to, shall we say, be selective about notifications. You'll notice that certain kinds of channels complain that people get unsubscribed, people get unnotified, their notifications bell gets turned off, that, channels don't show up in their feed like they're supposed to. I personally have not had that happen to my feed, but I don't know that it hasn't happened to people with my channel. But one or two people saying that once in a blue moon, I blow off. When most of the firearms related channels that are big enough to attract attention are saying that, I have to believe that it's real. I mean, they're not, why would they all be lying about it, right? So, yeah, I think that's where we're going to see some changes, and we're going to see marketing move, because marketing is going to demand a social media presence to sell their product because the television audience is not there. The major event social media presence is not relevant. I don't go to the Bassmaster Classic YouTube channel, if they even have one, or website, to go watch coverage of the Bassmaster Classic. You know where I went? Scott Martin's channel. That's where I watched it. Where do I go to watch other tournament stuff? Jacob Wheeler's channel, DC's channel, Mark Daniels' channel. Yeah. Do I ever watch the official channel for those tournaments? Almost never. I think I might have watched one or two of their videos over the last 2 years. Yeah. So if you're one of the other tournament fishermen or a firearms guy or a race car driver or whatever it is, if you are not providing that service to your sponsors, you might not have sponsors in a couple of years. They're literally not going to have any use for you. They may provide you the equipment. They may give you the gear because they use you in ads and so on. But that's going to be it. They're not going to really go out of their way. There's not going to be a signature thing. Like, you're not going to be their main guy. So we're in an hour. Whoever is watching, I got apparently one person watching. Do you have any questions, comments, ideas, thoughts? Just want to say hi before I call it quits and finish my whiskey that I've been sipping. And I don't know. I think I'm yawning. Too much. I was going to film another video because I need something for Saturday. I don't have anything in the can. And I have a couple ideas, but I don't have anything in the can. Saturday is probably gun related, not fishing related or archery related. So if you're one of my regular viewers, don't worry. We're getting back on the firearms kick for that. It will most likely be something related to ammunition. I am considering redoing the 6.5 Grendel versus 300 Blackout argument, and what one is better for what kind of task and why. Okay. I guess departure is a don't have any comment or questions. End stream. End.